Welcome back everyone. In this section we are going to build this expanding card. When you click on any of this card, you can see here we have this nice transition and the card is expanding, and at the same time the other card is shrinking back to its normal position. So this is what we are going to build this in this section. Alright everyone, we are in the project now. In this project you can see here we have 3 files: HTML, CSS and a JavaScript file. We will use a little bit of JavaScript to build this project. So first I am going to take a repo, and inside this repo I am going to take card. And let me duplicate these cards a few times. I think this would be enough. And now I have to put a background image in each of these cards. So I am going to select them as well. And let's type here a style, and we want a background image, and then we will put here URL. And now let's select any of these images. Let's say this one, copy image address, and you can paste it over here. Now you can see we don't have the images yet in our page, so for that I'm going to write CSS for this. Let's select universal selector, box sizing border box, padding and margin to be 0, and in body I'm going to set display to flex, justify content center, align items center, and also I'm going to give you a height of 100 vh and a background of linear gradient 90 degree. Let's select FFF. Alright, so now the gradient is ready. Now we will select our repo, and we will give here a height of 50 vh, and I will set the display to flex. Still you can see the images are not on the page, so I'm going to select card, and let's give it a width, let's say 5 RAM. And now you can see we have the images over here with the width of 5 RAM of each of the images. And now we want some gap, so let me create here a gap of 1 RAM between these images. You can see here we have this nice gap, and I'm going to remove this background because this is not looking anywhere good. So I'm going to put here background Alice blue. Okay, so this is looking quite good, and also we want some border radius, so I will go with border radius, and let's set this to 4 RAM. And this is looking good. And now I will change these images because this is the same image in each of them, so I am going to take different images over here. Alright, so now you can see we have different images over here, and now I am going to style this. So let me put here an active class on the first card. Let's go here and put here active, so that we can see what is happening over here, because I want to set the larger width on this active one. So let's give here and set the width of let's go with 30 RAM. And now you can see we have this larger images, and now we will style the image. Let's set the background size to cover, and also background position, let's go with center. And we don't want any kind of background repeat, so I will go background repeat and no repeat. And this is it. I think we are done with our CSS file. And now what we want, when we click on any of these, we want to expand it. And now you can see this card has an active class. So if I click on this card, so it should expand and this should shrink it back. Okay, so for that I have to put active class on each of these card. And now for example, if I show you, if I cut this active class from here and if I paste in the second one, and now you can see it is taking the width of 30 RAM. Alright, so this is what we need to do. We need to add active class on each of these card when we click on this, and we want to remove active class at the same time so that it doesn't affect it. If I put here active class in this one as well, now you can see both have active classes, and we don't want it. We want to have active class on one of the images, and we want to remove active class from the rest of the images. Okay, so we will get that through JavaScript. So I'm going to remove this active class from here. We want the active class on the first one. And one more thing, we want to add here cursor to pointer. So when we hover over this, we have this pointer. So now let's go to JavaScript file, and we will create our first variable const, and in this one I will take cards, and we will get this through document dot query selector. So what does query selector do? Query selector selects any kind of element, like it can select p element, it can select div, it can select anything, it can select class as well. So I am going to select our card. But the problem here is there is more than one card. So you can see here we have card, and it goes and goes. So query selector only selects one card. So for that I have to go with query selector all, and now it will select all of this card. Okay, and now I have to go to cards, and I want to add an event listener in all of these cards, and we will add the active class. So for that we have for each element, and we will pass out card on this, and we want card, and we will add an event listener to this. We want to here a click, and we will pass this function over here. So if I click any of these, I want to console log it. So if I click now any of this card, this should pass me this number. So I'm going to inspect over here, and let's go to console. And now if I click any of these, you can see we are getting 883 two times, three times, and as many time as I click, you can see we are getting this number. So now we don't want to get it. We want, when I click on this, so we want to add a class list. So let's add a class of active in all of these. Okay, so now if I show you in the console again, and now you can see we have this active class on this third card. If I click on this one, you can see we have this active class. But the problem here is, again, as I said, this is adding the active class, but it is not removing. So we have to write a function for that as well. So let me go to again on our code. So now we will create a function to remove active classes. Okay, so let's go to function, and we want to remove active. Okay, so we want for each card we want to remove active. So again I will go to card, and then class list, and then we have remove, and we will just remove this active class from here. Okay, so now if I click on this, you can see here nothing is happening because I have to call this function. So I am going to call this function here, remove active, and now it should work just fine. If I click on this, you can see here it has removed the active class on the first one, and now we have the active class on the second one. And now if I click on the third one, you can see the third one, it has removed the active class from the second one and added to the third one. Alright, so now only thing we need to add here is transition, because this is looking ugly. So I am going to, so let's go to card, and let's give you a transition of 0.7 second. And now you can see we have this nice transition on each of this card when you click on them. So this is it for this section, and I'll see you in the next project.